really important that we begin to change the mindset of young people to know that your vote counts.
They don't understand that the legislative arm of government is actually a co-equal arm of government.
We have an incredible amount of potential.
Whatever it is I was doing, because of my personal DNA, it had to be of an international standard. Which is what, seriously speaking, is all about.
Hello there, this is Seriously Speaking. My name is Adesuwa, and today we're seriously talking about one issue that's very close to my heart, not only because I studied drama in the University of Ife, but because I love to go to the theatre. So theatre is the topic of discussion today. But I'll first meet three wonderful people who are in this profession, two who never even studied it, but have moved that business to a high level, and then, of course, one veteran who is a very close friend of mine. At the end of the show, I'm hoping that you'll go away with the fact that going to the theatre is worth it, you support it with your money, and of course, you'll go and visit one show, at least one show a week. This is Seriously Speaking. My name is Adesuwa, and we'll be back in a short while. Welcome back. My first guest on the show today, I'm having the first conversation with, is somebody I first heard about or became popular with his directing of one popular play at that time that was called Vagina Monologues. I found it interesting that a guy was directing Vagina Monologues. It's my pleasure to welcome to the show today, Wole Oguntokun.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
How young or old were you when you realized that, well, this is what I want to do? Or the first experience of theatre you ever had?
Well, the first experience of theatre was, I think I was like 7 or 8, and it was Bumi Thani, a young lady. She was like 8 or 9 herself, but she would put us together and give us lines and say, you go there.
Did you guys have costumes?
No, but I was always the guy who wanted to marry her younger sister and all that. And then, well, by university, I knew what I wanted to do, even though I was studying law.
But you're already in university studying law?
Yes, but I knew I had to do I knew how to do with drama.
Why? Was there something that was attracting you?
I always knew it had to do with the written and spoken word. I just knew that my life had to do with the written word, with the spoken word. I didn't know what it would be then, and law sounded like it.
Sounded like it. Until you found theatre in Ife. Of course, I can imagine Pit Theatre. That's my department now.
It was a great experience.
So you used to like go there. You go there as just to go there to observe, or because you had nothing to do?
No, it was the day I discovered Pit Theatre was the day my life changed in that university. I would go there and for hours I'd sit and watch them rehearse and watch them perform. It was always magical.
So why did you act? You chose to direct. How did directing start?
Directing started from writing. Okay. Because, you know, basically, I think in the mind of a playwright, you're thinking of how you want your play to go and where the characters should stand and what they should be thinking or the way they should be looking. And so that was the way it started for me.
That's you in action.
Yeah.
Was this a book reading or this was what?
It was Beatification of Area Boy. Professor Shoyinka made me read someone's lines.
Oh, okay, to show him what to do.
Yeah, no, he wanted me to fill in for someone. Someone wasn't around, and he said, okay. You know, and he said, read those lines.
This was a recent production.
Oh, this was this year.
Oh, no, when was it done?
This was done Black Heritage Festival.
Okay, that was in March.
Yes, March. Yes.
Okay, so now you
April,
started directing because you wanted to direct your own work.
I wanted to direct work, basically. I wanted to direct work. I'd written, and I didn't know where to take it to. So after a while,
that was the
Who's Afraid was first directed by Kaude Peters, but subsequent editions were directed by me. And then, of course, I began to do plays.
But it was your work?
It was mine.
Why did you write that?
It was a satire of the military.
Why did you use Shoyinka? Because you were scared of Shoyinka?
Because I thought, you know, in this day and age, in Nigeria, it was Shoyinka that put fear into the military that made them worry. They might not have been afraid, but they were really worried about him. And so for me, it was him.
Who was afraid of Shoyinka? That's why I must call in Omonor at this point in time. She's an actress who didn't study anything acting, but she's one of the best on stage today, and is recognized only by her name, Omonor. Omonor, join us on set. I mean, I find it amazing. Omonor, that's all. But where are you from?
Edo State.
Edo State. Okay, we are very powerful people. See, powerful sisters. Not only are we beautiful, but we are talented. Okay, welcome on set.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see you. When was your own first experience of theatre?
First ever was at home with my siblings. Just
how many siblings?
5.
Maybe that's why.
Just fooling around, and my eldest sister was the ringleader. She was the one who decided whether we were doing a TV show today or a play, and it was a very big house, so we had enough sets, so to speak. Yeah, that was my first ever experience.
That's looking back. You didn't think it was theater then, I'm sure.
No, it was just fun. We were playing.
Did you know that you were going to end up practicing theater?
I didn't know. I thought I'll just do it as a hobby while I was in school, but I think as time went on, what was the deciding factor? Okay, people started offering me money. Yeah.
While in school?
While in school.
Something you could have done for free.
Come and do this thing, you know, we'll pay you and you'll pay me. Okay, cool. And then I started doing it and I realized that I loved it. I enjoyed doing it and it was good to be making money from it at the same time. But I think I always believed it was going to be something I'll do on the side along with my real job.
Did you ever get a real job?
Yes, I have a real job. I'm an actor. Acting is a real job.
No, what you call a real job.
Okay, you mean
then,
a real
that
job?
real job. Yes, I know.
Never.
So you ended up just being swallowed up by theater.
Yes.
And do you see it as an industry that, of course you see it as, is it just passion or there's also a business side to it?
Oh, yes, there is a business side to it. It's passion runs it, but there is a business side. So if this is what I have to do, then I have to be making money from it.
What would you say is the state of theater in Nigeria today? One word from both of you before I invite my next guest.
Progressing.
Progressing. Well, how would you describe it?
Promising.
Progressing, promising. So it's still not there yet.
It will get there.
You're sure it will get there?
Yes,
So
definitely.
that will form the basis of the conversation we're going to have after I've spoken with my next guest, who I call they said the big masquerade dances last. You would agree that Joke Silva is a big masquerade in this industry?
Yes, yes.
A big masquerade. So I'll take a break. I must take a break now so I can come back and have Joke Silva on set with me on theater as a way of life. Welcome back. I described her as the biggest masquerade, but she's much more than that to me. She's my personal person. We call ourselves confidant partner. And you cannot talk theater in Nigeria without talking Joke Silva. So it's my pleasure to have Joke Silva on my set. Mrs. Jacob.
All of them join.
Hello, sis. It's nice to have you on set. How do you go around interviewing your friend now? Where do I start? I know everything about you.
Exactly.
Anyway, but you know, the reason you're here is I do know. I can imagine what it must have been like for mommy when you went and said, I want to do drama. You know? In those days,
yes.
More than 25, 30 years ago, you say you want to do drama.
Yes.
But that was bold. You must have been a rascally child.
I was actually, I was, and I think it was a talent that they had seen from very early on.
Even daddy and everybody.
Yes, everybody. You know, especially my parents, mom and dad, and they had seen it from early on. I would you know, perform for all their friends when they came, and you know, and my father used to have a lot of international guests who used to come over and stay, and you know, and if my friends came, I'd just dress everybody up and we'd put up a performance for them, you know. So they knew the interest was there, and they tried to nurture it, you know, but it wasn't. They were not nurturing it as a profession. It was supposed to be a hobby. And I remember when I came back with these awful A-level results. I think I only passed one subject, and that was English, and which I did when I repeated my A-levels because I was doing science subjects, you know, wanting to be like mommy, and then finally realizing I couldn't be a doctor, and you know, going into there. So the only subject I passed was English, and my father said, look, why don't you go back and do these A-levels once again and go and study law? Joke, you are good. My mom said, don't let's waste money. This girl, her heart is in drama, so let's do drama.
Oh, really?
Yes.
See, I'm hearing that for the first time.
Yes. She said, let's do drama. Let's, you know, that's where her heart is. Let's go. But then she goes asking her friends, and this my child says she wants to do theater arts. So because she's a doctor, they now kept sending her to the hospital of you know, where the theater, you know, there's a theater in the hospital, you know, for operations and things like that. She said, no.
That's not the theater I mean.
Anyway, to cut a long story short, after I took a year out and studied, you know, I worked at the University of Lagos and, you know, all that television, national theatre. And then, you know, they said, okay, time to go and study this thing properly as a profession.
When you went to study drama,
yes,
did you ever think you could practice it at home and make a living out of it?
Yes, because when I started, everything was thriving. it was a thriving time, which was in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, so theatre was thriving, and so you know, going to study, I expected to come back home and still be working the way I was working. Only to come back home, and there was nothing.
I must go. I think it's at least, if nothing else, it's the best way to unwind. Nothing like a theatre experience.
Yes,
so at this point, I must say, find the next play that is available wherever it is you are and go and see it. That will be the beginning. That will be your contribution. We'll see you again next week. Bye.